The footage you're seeing in the background is of me playing Dark Souls 3 with a new character, the one with basically no starting equipment, because it's not fun unless I suffer through it, all because I sort of had to restart the game. Now you may wonder, aren't you the guy that keeps saying that Dark Souls sucks? Why are you playing it twice? Well, allow me to expand upon the idea. The first two suck. Control-wise, they are wretched, they are horrible, they are made with no regard for a mouse and a keyboard. I know what you're gonna say, well, just use a gamepad. Gamepads for action games are horrible, dreadful, abysmal. I want to be able to move the camera and attack, or parry, or block, or jump at the same time, you know, like a normal person. This isn't the N64. I want a better control scheme than what they implement usually in action games for the gamepad. And the first two, they were kind of unplayable with a mouse and keyboard. You couldn't even map all the buttons you had on your mouse. There was noticeable delay when attacking because they considered, oh, we should make holding down the mouse click as the heavy attack. Okay, cool, but the problem was, if you just click normally, there is still a delay there, as if it expected the click to go on longer, notice it didn't, and then trigger the normal attack. Dark Souls 3 fixed all of that. It's playable with a mouse and keyboard. The lock-on system and aiming are still as wretched as million-year-old bowls marinated in poo-poo water, but it's way better than the previous ones. A lot better. To the point where you start to wonder, did they do something else that made the game kind of obnoxious? Well, they made two things. One of them is that the game no longer has support for Steam Cloud save synchronization. You cannot upload your save to Steam to keep it there safe and sound, which is something I think you can do on the previous games. I haven't tried because I haven't touched them in like forever. Second or third one. Then you think, well, it's an online game. It constantly checks in with the server to verify that you're not cheating, that you can invade people and be invaded by them. Usually you're being invaded by cheaters because nobody cares about having actual anti-cheat methods unless you're doing it to recover some save progress you lost, in that case you're a villain. But you think that it would have some sort of off-site backup for your saves? It doesn't. Instead it keeps the save games locally, which, okay, I'm fine with. I mean, yeah, games keep save files locally. What's the big deal? They've all done it. That's how they work, duh. I mean, usually they keep it in the save folder of the game itself, in the game folder. This has been a bit less popular since the rise of multi-user operating systems, which I find to be a stupid idea because, frankly, if somebody else touches my PC without me being there, it's because I'm dead, held hostage, or trust them to such a degree that I would let them shoot at me with a bow and arrow blindfolded, jumping on one foot and singing Yankee Doodle Dandy. So I don't get the whole multi-user aspect thing. But then again, I'm not the regular user. I'm the there's a pixel at the top corner between the border of two monitors and a Windows 10 machine that you cannot disable, which blocks all mouse movement from one monitor to the other, and it drives me insane kind of person. So okay then, the save file is in my documents, either in a folder it made in like my documents from software, Dark Souls 3, player data, save game, current save, something, or it's in the actual save game folder that Windows creates by default in my games or something. I mean, no big deal. I moved my entire my documents to D. So whenever I have to reinstall Windows, because of course I have to do it pretty much every new update because they all bork something, god damn it, I lose nothing. All my saves are there, everything's functional, it's all there intact, no problem, no biggie. So after I did the whole delete Windows, reinstall format C something when I cleaned it out like a couple of months ago, I noticed something kooky when coming back to Dark Souls last week. I couldn't find the continue option. Thought to myself, okay, I guess I have to load the game, maybe it doesn't recognize it as being the current one, so I'm just gonna have to load the previous save, it's probably no biggie. And I looked for the load game option, and it wasn't there. So I think to myself, okay, did I move? Okay, maybe I didn't point it towards the folder where the save games are. Of course, yeah, that's gotta be it. Now, where are the save games? Where did I put them? Where the game put them, I mean, and where do I have to move them now? Maybe Windows changed some setting or something. Okay, so it stores them in app data, local, low row. Crap. Now, I perfectly understand that making a save game feature may not be the easiest thing possible. when you're dealing with Dark Souls where everything respawns and just keeps a track record of small things you did, there's no branching, multi-linear. Why does this save game have 8 megabytes? It's at the same level as Diablo in terms of what it saves. That thing, you could fit like all your save games in 50 years on a single floppy. But back to what I was saying, I know that a save game feature is not easy to make. But you know what is? Not putting the save game file at the ass end of nowhere. This isn't rocket science. This isn't a revelation that I am ushering upon you, that I'm enlightening you now with my knowledge of supreme deity level being intellect. No. This is something they got right 40 years ago. You store the save game either next to the game or where the user can easily find it and get it if they need to move it around. You don't store it in the same place that Macromedia Flash Player keeps its open SSL cache, because you're never gonna go there. It's a dead place where I see that somehow Tropical is also storing saved games. God damn it, people, what's wrong with you? Or ScumVM for that matter, really? That's where you keep them. That's where the progress to my Monkey Island games always goes, and then vanishes after I actually start installing software. In the one folder that you just know is gonna get nuked out of orbit. What's even the point of having a My Documents folder? What's the point of My Documents having a crap ton of game folders in it from developers that kind of got the message of, oh yeah, maybe we should put them where somebody can actually get to them. After all, these are games. These are not software intrinsically tied to the operating system to the point where if you separate the two, then one will not work without the other. Even crypto miners, which you'd think would be really interested in hiding somewhere that's not really all that easily visible, make folders in My Documents to store their crap. Well, the legit ones that you can download, not the ones that install themselves by their own fruition. And that's pretty much it. Over 30 hours of gameplay in Dark Souls 3 just evaporated. Time that I enjoyed playing, I put some effort into it, especially since I don't have a lot of free time. Now gone and I have to redo everything again, but do I even want to redo everything again? I mean, those frogs, and especially that entire swamp area, do I really want to play through that again, through the slow moving sludge poisoning molasses of game design that bit was, just to get to the parts beyond it that are better? I don't know, maybe at one point, maybe in co-op, but me alone, by myself, it's the kind of thing that makes you want to give up on games, doesn't it? You should check out our next podcast, it's just about that exactly. I don't think it's been aired at the point where you're listening to this one, and everything could have just been fixed if a few isolated developers making big budget massive games understood that when you give the player the option, well, not the option, the feature, the necessary feature to save their progress, you shouldn't stuff it someplace where they wouldn't expect it to be. Because by default, they will think that you as a developer are an intelligent person that knows that, oh yeah, maybe they want to move their save game to another drive or keep it safe in case they delete something. So I'm gonna put it here in the game folder or in My Documents under the username, you know, in a safe place. Because that's what you would do, unless you're using some custom engine built by somebody that didn't understand that and you're forced to deal with the folder paths, the file structure that somebody made and are unable to change it, and it's gonna be like that forever, in which case ask that person to change the engine. It's probably still in the licensing agreement or something, unless you made the engine yourself and really hate me. To be fair, I understand why you would. I mean, there are days when I don't like myself either. Why would I? I'm a negative Nancy that keeps on going about, ooh, my save games, ooh, my target locking, oh no, some stupid game thing nobody cares about. I get that. But just because you hate me doesn't mean you have to punish everybody that wants to keep their save games in a a save game folder, not in the roaming folder of app data. And so I plead with game developers out there to stop doing this. Maybe even patch some games to stop doing this. Maybe this game. That probably won't ever happen, but at least I've aired my grievances and made a really simple show to compensate for the fact that this Friday I may actually have a vacation. Hopefully. Goodbye.